Good evening, Fred Blanchard here, Adrenaline Motorsports. You're listening to AdrenalineRadio.com. Again, I think I touched on this last week about the Grand National Roadster Show, and it is taking place as we speak at the Fairplex in Pomona, California. And it's a thing to go see. I must tell you that the times that I've been able to attend and have a display of our components from racing for racing components there at from Arius Industries, we were very fortunate to be connected with some of one of the finest car builders around, and be in that marketplace. I know that we've Extreme Automotive is the folks out of Corona, California, that do a spectacular job, do a tremendous presentation, show their skills and bring cars. And the time that I had the opportunity to be with those folks, I must tell you that they had a display second to none of several of their premium cars to display in one of the, I think it was Building 4 if I'm not mistaken. And along with that, they had a deal where they actually really assembled a car during one day of the show, and it was given to the promoter of the show, and it was just amazing. This whole car came together in one day there at the show, fired up and drove out of the building. Just amazing the things that they do there at Extreme Automotive. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on, kind of something that's a little closer to what I do. This is one of the social events of the year. It's the SCTA Awards Banquet, and I couldn't leave that out. They're having an event on Saturday, and this coming Saturday to be exact, and that would be today was 28. Well, it's the 29th, of course, in the evening, and that'll be a nice event, and this is the time that all the clubs come together, and many members of the different clubs will receive some style of award for their achievements during the year running El Mirage Dry Lake, which is pretty much what the clubs do there. And then they also go in August. The majority of them have something to run. They run Bonneville as well. So, but anyway, for the first time, I'm kind of really proud of my own gang. I got to tell you honestly that I'm going to have them for the first time there with me at the show. Not that I'm going to get an award of any kind, but just to have them there with me is a plus in itself. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, and it's kind of different, but it relates to motorsports, but it also relates to our nation's farming industry, and which is the National Farm Machinery Show. It's in Louisville, Kentucky, and aside from looking at all and admiring all of these big, giant monster machines that plant and grow our country's produce, they also have tractor pulling for 4 days in this whole thing, and this is a real big event for all classes of tractor pulls, of course. And it's very cool that they're doing that, and they have vehicles that look like the regular trucks on the road, but they're two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. But they're farm implement tractors that are hopped up to pull these great big weighted sleds, and they see how far this tractor can make the pull, and that's a real big thing. And they run high-performance engines in these particular tractors, and sometimes it's more than one engine. You'll find as many as 5 at a time in some of these tractors. And some are on alcohol with superchargers and the whole thing. So it's a real fun thing. And there's some of these events are basically, a lot of them are on television. If you get a chance to look into that, I think Speed Channel carries some of that stuff. Arius is very interested in some of that stuff. We used to have a lot of, in the early days of Arius racing engines, they were king of the hill, so to speak. They had multiple engines and a variety of classes in tractor pulls, and some of the guys who built these tractors would tell the company, talk to Mr. Arias directly and tell him, he says, Mr. Nick, he says, it'll take 5 of these other engines to outpull 4 of the Arias engines. The Arias engines have a lot of power, and they do a lot of pulling, and they're hard to beat, and it's pretty tough to do that. And fact of the matter is, I think this last season that was held, I think of the top 5 engines that were in the winner's circle for points and that kind of thing, I think 3 were Arias design products, but owned by other people now as far as the manufacturing part of it is concerned. But its design is still used, is still the same. The Carroll Shelby project that Dembesti Motorsports is involved with, that they've taken upon themselves, and connecting with Nick Arias Jr. Racing Components, and what's coming from that facility will be Dembesti Motorsports has formulated a contract for 5 years that they will have in their some of the Cobra cars a Hemi Ford, which is going to be quite a project. It's going to be about a 427 cubic inch motor. And currently there was one on display at the Barrett-Jackson auction all week, and his display was just none more than phenomenal. He had his the best of his car collection that he has there on display. And from those who had visited, unfortunately I wasn't able to make it, but those who had visited the Barrett-Jackson display, they said there were 3 and 4 and 5 people deep at all times, the whole week, just oohing and on over it. And I had later a conversation with Bill Dembesti himself as he confirmed the fact that the show was a hit, and then the big deal was, and I was impressed just with that fact. And then he actually talked to Edsel Ford III himself, and that to me is very impressive, that the connections these guys have. And several of those who are engine builders, such as people from Roush, were by and examined what was going on there, and they told Mr. Dembesti that he had hit the jackpot. That was quite a deal. He's going to perform and put in some of these Cobras. So with that, that was pretty cool. So Bill is very pleased, and we're still in the R&D stages, and there will be a complete Ford on the dyno here probably within the next 30 days that will show some results of what we've been working toward. A part of the program that we're involved with is making sure that the engine fits in the car, which is a big deal. And we've done some prototype designing of intake manifolds, and how we're able to do that is that pretty much the manifolds are fabricated to fit the requirements and the clearances and things that we need to have initially, and that will be found on the prototypes only. And then in the future, of course, manifolds will be made as they normally are in a cast version of that. And one of the surprise comments by Mr. Dembesti himself is that there's a possibility here that this thing is going to be fuel injected as well.